Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on the time you are accessing this material. Welcome to Microsoft Office, and today we are going to consider week 4. Now, if this is your first time, probably you may be accessing this video on YouTube, then this is the course taught on Kuulchat.com. So you can as well visit Kuulchat.com to check the course content. Now, in order for you to see the text clearer, I've zoomed the website, but if at the time you're accessing this video, Microsoft Office is among the popular courses on the website, then you can see it on the front page. So when you scroll, okay, so at this moment it's on the front page, so you can access it on the front page. Other than that, then you have to go to courses, the information technology, then you can see it under information technology courses. So those of you who have already taken it, then you already know me, but if first time of taking this course, you need to revise week 2 and week 3, then you continue with first. Of course, if you check the course outline, the thing that we've done in week 1 and week 2 and week 3, you are okay with it, then you can as well watch the week 4 video tutorial as well. Okay, so what are we going to study today? So we are going to create a table in Word. We are going to merge the cells. We are going to add a formula. So most often formulas are normally done with Excel, but Word also has a way you can as well write simple formulas for your tables. Then we'll consider borders and shades. Then we'll consider if you want to write a CV or a cover letter, how you can apply this knowledge to design a CV and as well as write a cover letter. Okay, so that's basically what we'll be doing today. So if you click on the graduation curve, you will see the course content. So if you have to contact you on the home icon on the page, so click on the home icon for the course. Then if you click here, if you log in already, there will be chat with an instructor. So on the chat with an instructor, you can send me a message, then I can reply you. But you need to first of all have a Kuulchat account before you be able to chat with me. And as well as if you have an account, you have to log in as well. Okay, so let's get started. So to create a table, it says click on the insert tab. So this is the insert tab. So if you've taken week 1 or week 2, we talk about all these tabs. Okay, so you click on the insert tabs. In the insert tab, we have table, and over here we have these ones are called rows, and the vertical ones are called column. So if I say column 1, I'm referring to this one. If I say column 2, I'm referring to this one. If I say column 3, I'm referring to this one. If I say column 4, I'm referring to this one. If I say column 5, I'm referring to this one, and so on. So over here, the columns are written first before the row. Okay, so this one will read column 1, row 1. This one will read column 2, row 1. Column 3, row 1. Column 3, row 1. Yeah, column 4, row 1. And here will be column 1, row 2. Column 2, row 2. Column 3, row 2. Column 4, row 2, and the rest. So if you have a table to write, you have to count how many rows and how many columns you need. So you just go by that order. But here, a number of columns is only, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you have 10 columns and 8 rows, if I'm correct. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 10 columns and 8 rows. So if you need more than this, then you can click on the insert table. But if this is not for you, you just overwrite. Then when you are satisfied with the number, you just click on it. Then automatically the table will be inserted on where your cursor is. So it means that first you need to place your cursor at where you want the table to be. before you go to insert the table, then you select how many rows and how many columns you want. Once you are satisfied, you just click on it and the table will automatically be inserted. But if the number here, what the table you needed is more than that, then you can just click on insert table. Then the dialog will pop up. So in the dialog, you can write how many columns you needed and how many rows you need. So in that one, the table will be inserted, and the table columns are adjusted, distributed evenly. So if you want to adjust it, then you can be dragging, but by default, when you insert, it will adjust all the columns, their width to be even. Now, there is also a possibility for you to draw the table yourself. So if you want to draw it yourself, you click on draw. Then if the pencil, you'll be able to draw the table and the row. So if you want a column, you just scroll that, go that way. If you want a row, you just go that way in that order. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate all the methods. So all the methods I've talked about by this one, or by clicking on the insert, or by using the draw table option. Okay, so I've already started my Microsoft Word, so I'll open it, and I'm going to zoom it so that it becomes a little bigger for this. Okay, so just insert. Then using method 1, if I want maybe 4 columns with 3 rows, then I can just 4 by 4. Okay, so I can have this using this method. So you can, now like I told you, the columns are evenly distributed. So if you want to adjust any of them, you just drag. So when you pull it, so when it changes to this cursor, then you can drag the position you want. Okay, so you can adjust them, but by default it is evenly distributed. Okay, and as well you can also make it evenly distributed by highlighting the columns you want them to be evenly distributed. So when you right click, I'll give you distribute evenly. So if you want to distribute the rows evenly, and if you want to distribute the columns evenly, there's this option too. You can as well choose. But by default, once you insert, they are distributed evenly for you. So if you want to adjust, you can just use this. If you want to adjust the row, so once you click on that line, you see that the cursor changes. If you want to adjust the column, once you click on that line, the cursor changes. So you can drag and adjust their position. Okay, so this is method 1. So I will undo it and I go to method 2. So method 2, we have table, then insert table. So in the insert table, we have the number of columns. So if I want 4 columns and 4 rows, I just enter the number I want. Okay. So here to fix column width, so auto, so it will automatically adjust the column. If you want to change, then you can just click here, then it will be changing to the width you want. But by default, it is auto, so you just click on auto. So once you click on the table, will also be inserted. Okay, so this is method 2. That one too you can adjust. Once you insert it, it becomes a normal table. So any other thing you can do with the other method, you can do with any of those methods as well. So now we go to the third one. So using the draw method. So with the draw method, you just click on draw. Okay. So now the vertical one, when you just scroll it, just goes there, and it draws this vertical one. So if you want to draw, to extend it, if you want to draw a column, you just go down, then it draws. If you want to draw another column, you just go down, then it draws. If you want to draw a row, you can just go down, then it joins them. Okay, so based on how you want it, then it draws, then it adjusts it. Okay, so this one, you have to use any of those 3. The ones that will be easier for you, then you can as well use. So we continue. So that with the method 32, once you draw the table, it becomes a table. So whatever you can adjust the width and the columns and the row as well. So merging cells. So sometimes you may want to join two cells together. So that's what we call merging cells. Then they become one. So once you join them, they become one. So first, you need to highlight the cells with the mount. So we've done highlighting things in our previous week. So we put the mounts at the right hand side of the column or the row. They just drag. So once you are dragging either a row bottom, then it will be selecting. So once you are satisfied with the selection, then you right click on any of those the selected cells. So you just right click it. Then you select merge cells. So in the right click there will be options. So you just select merge cells. So once you click on merge cells, those two cells or three cells or how many you selected will be merged. So for example, if I want all these cells to be one, all I need to do is to select them. Okay, so this one I have to select this one, so it no longer says that I'm inserting this, and then I can select. Okay, so once I've selected them, when I right click, they will be merged. So once I click on merge, all of them will be merged together. Then it all becomes it all become one cell. So whatever you want, you can just do over there. Okay. So if you want to draw again, then you just click on draw table. Then you can just draw the rows if you are using this method. So that's about merge. So if you want to merge this one to just select the two cells by just moving the mouse, dragging the mouse like the way we did how to select text. And you just click on right click, then merge. And it merged the two cells for you. Okay, so we continue with the merge. Then we move on to borders and shades. So borders is for giving the table a border. Now, sometimes we may need to remove the border. For example, when we get to writing a CV, in order for our CVs for the description and the values or the text to be in line, we will have to put them in table. But when it's being printed, we don't want those lines to be visible, so we need to remove the borders of that table. Okay, so sometimes you may need to remove the border, and also you may get a Word document where the border has been taken out, but you don't know the boundary. So you may also need to add the borders as well. So based on how the status of the table, then you know what to do. So in this case, if the table is already has a border by default, if you insert the table, it has a border. So if you want to remove the border of the table, you follow the steps. So you click on any part of the table, then you have the table move handle. So you get something like this. Anytime you click on any part of the table, you get something like this. Then you just right click on it. So when you right click on it, there is table properties. So when you click on table properties, you will see borders. Then you set in the borders tab. So there is a tab for borders and shading. So in the borders tab, you just select none. Then you click OK. So the table border will disappear. So for example, this one, if I want to remove the table border, okay, here the move is already there. So I don't have any problem. But if it's not there, when you click on any part, the moves come. So you just right click on it. Okay, then you go to table properties. Okay, so in the table properties, just borders and shading. Then if we don't want the if you don't want any border, we click on none. Then the box will only border the surrounding, but the columns and the inner ones it will ignore them. But all borders all the cells. The same with grid. All is thicker than grid. For the all of them have the same thickness. For the grid, the inner one have a lower thickness, as you can see. Then the custom, if you want to choose which side you want to put the border, then you choose. So we have all the sides here. So you choose the one you want. So once you choose the ones you want to remove, the one you want to add, you see the preview over here. So if you are satisfied, you just click on it. By this time, you don't want the border, so you just click on none. Then we click OK. Then we also click this OK, so that everything is happening. So as you can see, it's no longer there. Okay. So now if you have the text over here and you don't know the boundaries, it will be difficult for you to manipulate the table. So you, in that way, you now want the table again. So you do the same method. So you also right click on the move handle, then borders and shading. Then this time you just click on all borders. Then all the borders will come back again. Okay. So that is it. So that's borders and removing and adding the borders. We've done that now. Now we are on shading. So shading, normally you put a background in the cell. So any of the cells, if you want a background in them, so that one you use shading. So for example, if I want to put shading over here, so if I select this part, or if I put my cursor at the corner here, okay, if I right click it and I go to table properties, so this time borders and shading, so I'll go to shading. So you fill it with the color you want. So if I want it to be a little bit green, I just fill it. Then I click OK. Then I click OK. So the parts where you selected will be shaded. So and remember, if you shade it to a particular color, you also may have to change the color text so that it blends with the background you shaded it to. Okay, so that's it. So to shade it, you just click on so it's either you select. So when the arrow changes to this way, it means you can click to select. So once you select it, you just right click it, then fill borders, then shading, then you choose the color you want to change it to, then OK, then this one too, OK. So what of if it's the entire table? So if it's the entire table, you just select on the table properties. So let's see. Okay, so for the entire table property. But once you choose for the entire table, the other ones will disappear. So based on what you want to do. But if you want a particular cell, you need to select it. So when you hover on the mouse in that cell and the cursor changes to the arrow, so when you click on it, it will select it. So when you right click, borders and shading, table properties, borders and shading, then you can choose the shading color that you want. Okay, so if I want this color, so you just click on OK, then the other OK, then the other disappear. So that's it. So that's the borders and shading. Okay. So we are going to use this knowledge, design a timetable. Okay, but before we do that, we will also talk about changing text direction. So by default, the text is displayed in the horizontal way. What if you want it to be vertical? So that's what we are going to do. So to make it vertical, you also select the cell you want to change the text direction. Then this time you are going to click text direction. So once you click on the text direction, it will give you the position of the text. So let's say for example, I have break over here. Okay, so I have break over here. Now I want this break to be vertical. So in that case, I will just select that cell, then I right click, then text direction. Then I can change it. So if I want it to start from this way, I just click on this one. If I want it to start downward, I choose this one. But I want it to start this way, so I choose that one. And when you click, as you can see, it has changed. Now remember, if you want to adjust it, just like the way we do, we use the key, the space key and the enter. So the enter pushes it downward, the space key push it to the right hand side a little bit up. So this time if it's vertical, a little bit up. So the more space key you press, then the more it is moving a little bit. Okay, so if you don't want if it has moved more than, then use the delete key to move it backward. Now, if you want it to move downward, then you use the enter key, just like the way we use the enter in that way. Okay, so you use these three keys to adjust the position the way you want it. So the space will be shifting it to the top if it's vertical, and to the bottom it will shift it to the enter will shift it to the bottom. Then the delete will be removing the spaces that you've entered. So based on how many spaces you have, when you delete it takes the space of 1, 2, and the rest. So that's basically about the text direction. So you check the other text direction too, then you can see how it is. Okay. If I want it this way. So if you want that one to is follow the same way. So enter space and delete, and so on. Okay. So you adjust it using the three keys: space, delete, enter, to adjust the way you want it. Okay. So we move on to this timetable. So we are going to design this timetable. So if you are designing the timetable, you have to count the smaller cells. So all the smaller cells, you just count how many of them are there, so that you know how many smaller cells you have and the ones to join. So in this way, you know that this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here, it seems like 2 has been joined together. So it's going to be 6 and 7. So here we have 6 rows. Like I said, all these ones are rows. The horizontal ones are rows. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here is 2 which has been joined together. So 6 and 7. Then the vertical one, you count. So the vertical one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 columns and 7 rows. So we just use the insert. Okay, so I'm going to delete this one. So you just choose the one that you want. So we have 8 columns, 7 rows. So 8 columns, 7 rows. Okay, so you can insert that one. So now, for normally, we've done page orientation. For a poster or something you'll be posting, normally is you need to make the orientation landscape instead of portrait, so that you can have more space. Okay, so you make it landscape. So you adjust it as landscape so that you can have more space. So once you have it in landscape, you can adjust the Okay, so now you check which ones have been joined and which ones have not been joined. So first of all, let's write this Sunday, Monday, and the rest. Then we color those sides. So we have our Sunday here, then Monday here, then Tuesday here, then Wednesday here, Thursday, then Friday, then Saturday. Okay, so here you can make it a little bit shorter, so you can move this one. Then here too, because we don't need this one, we can pull it. Okay, so once you pull it, now if we want all of them to be even, so we can select the ones we want them to be even. Then we right click, then we choose distribute evenly. Okay, so seems like so we have distribute here. We want the columns to be distributed evenly. So distribute columns evenly, the ones we've selected. Okay, so the ones we've selected will be distributed evenly, and this one will be the way it is. Then, like I informed you, normally official writings we use Times New Roman. So you can choose this one to be no spacing, then we choose Times New Roman. But if you've been given a particular font to use, then it's up to you, then you can use it. Okay. Now, if the background color of these ones are yellow, so you just select them, then you right click. So they are shades. So they are shade. So table property, they are shading. We have a color of yellow for them. Okay. Okay. So the color is yellow, and text is black. And here we have the color to be blue, so you can select that color. Okay. And the shading, so property, table properties, so borders, shading, we have blue. Okay. I don't know which of these blue. Maybe this one. Okay. So we click on. Okay. So we've done those ones. Okay. So we've done that part. Now you need to know which ones have been merged. So here we have two, uh, 4 cells merged together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them merged together. So we are going to merge them. Then here we have, okay. Then here we have 2 merged together. So we have 3 and 4 merged together. Then 2 merged together. So we select 4 of them. So 4 merged together. So we select and we use merge. Okay, so 4 have been merged, then 2 also have been merged. So you select, then you click on merge. Okay, so the test one is easy. So you can write the text. I'm showing you how you can merge it. So here you write the seeker zoo and the amount. Here is empty. So those ones that are gray, also you make the background color gray. So those ones which are gray. So here the background color is gray. So you can just select that part. Then table property, borders and shading, choose the gray color. So you do the same for the other ones. So I'll only do the text direction. So in the tutorials, I've given you the cells which you need to merge them. So you can as well guess and you do the merge. So I'm going to do this part where we have the morning, afternoon, and evening. So it's not like there are two cells joined together. So two cells joined together, morning, afternoon, and evening. So you join each of these 2 cells together. So this and this will be merged. Then this and this will be merged. Then this and this will be merged. Then the text direction, I think, is going bottom to top. So you can change the text direction. So you just click on it, the text direction. So it is this one. Okay. So here it is evening. So the text is evening. So evening. Check if it has been centered. So if it has been centered in the middle, okay, it has been centered. So once you type, you can just click on Ctrl E to center it. So small capital E and small letters, the rest are small letters. But it's centered, so Ctrl E will center it. Then the next one is afternoon. And that one too, you have to check the text direction. So you right click, then text direction. So the same text direction, so this one. Then Control E to center it. And here this one is afternoon. Afternoon. Okay. Because of the recording, my Microsoft is freezing. Okay, so then the other one is morning. The other one is morning. So that one, so you need to change the text direction. So you need to change the text direction. Okay, so that one to the same. Then Control E to center, or you can click on the center one how you want it. So this one is morning. We have morning. Okay, so basically that's it. So the rest you can continue yourself. So the places where you think that they need to be joined, and in the lecture notes, I've put the places, but you can use your judgment to even see. Okay. So for example, here two cells have been joined together. Here two cells have been joined together. So you just join them. So you join this one and this together. So you just merge. And here this one has been joined together. These two have been joined together. So you just merge them. Okay. So you just merge them. Okay. So then you put in the contents. You write the things there which are there. So basically that's it. Now you can as well delete a cell. If you don't want a cell, you just delete a cell. So we have a delete also there. So delete cells can also delete cells if you don't want them. Okay, so let's continue. So you continue and fill in the text. So once you are done, you fill in the appropriate text, and those places that are agreed, you just put the background color there. So that's your assignment. So I'm just guiding you to do this task. So the more you practice, then the more experience you acquire. So that's it, and I've shown you which columns you need to join. So all the steps, I've put them in the lecture notes. So you can use your discretion to join the ones that you think they are joined. So, but this is just to guide you. The instructions are to guide you. So once you are done, then that's it. Okay. So now we are writing formula in table cell. So basically, like I said, it's appropriate to use Excel to do formula stuff. But for basic formulas, you can use the Word, Microsoft Word as well. So, and the naming of the cells, and the columns are named in alphabetical order. So, column 1 is A, column 2 is B, column 3 is C, column 4 is D, column 5 A, B, C, D. So column 5 is going to be E, and so on. And the rows are numbered 1, 2, 3. So row 1 is 1, row 2 is 2, row 3 is 3, and so on. So if, for example, here I have 5 over here, and here I have 2 here. Okay. Now this cell is named this is column 2, so B, so this is row 2, so B2. Okay. But these ones are joined together, so it will be difficult for you to get them. So you remove the timetable and use the normal so that is less confusing. So let's just say we have just this cells. Okay, so here maybe we have number 1, we have number 2, then we have results. Okay, so let's say we have 5 here, we have 3 here, we have 4 here, we have 7 here. Okay, so if for example here is addition of this and this, you just click on the cell, then in the layout you click on formula. So once you click on formula, you have the formula here. So if you want to add this and this, so we use sum for addition. So when you call the sum method, it will add, and then left means, so if you write sum left, it means all the numbers you have at the left is going to add them. So if this is what you want to do, when you click, it's going to add the 2. So here, if I want to add the 2 numbers, when I click okay, it's going to add the numbers, as you can see. So if I want another maybe product, the product of those 2 numbers, if I click on formula, then I'll just have products. Okay, so products I can say left, so it will find the multiplication among the numbers at the left. Okay, so you can as well use the cell names to also do your formula. For example, if I want to write here maybe this minus this, I can as well write. So I click on my formula, on the equal to, I can write the name of my cell. I know this one is column 1 row 3, so this will be A3. So I can, if I want this one minus this one will be B3. So I can have B3 minus A3. Okay, then it will do the subtraction in that order. So that's basically how you do this. But for Excel, when you make a change, it will automatically update your formula results. But for Word, it doesn't do that. So for example, if this is 1 and you change it, it doesn't do that. So you need to select your results, then you right click. When you right click, there is update field. So when you click on update field, then it will update the value for you. Okay, so basically that's the formula. So these are some of the formulas you can use. So you can try them yourself and see. So the average finds the average between the numbers. So you know what an average is. It sums the numbers and divide by how many numbers you have. Then count will count how many numbers you have. Mass will retain the maximum value of the numbers you have. Minimum will retain the minimum value of the value you have. Then the product, as we've seen, it retains the multiplication, the result of multiplication of the numbers. Then sum, it adds the numbers together. Then, as I've explained this already, then also explain the updating. So you should call to mind that Word is not like Excel. For Excel, once you make changes to any of the cells, it will automatically update the value. And for Word, you need to select the value, then you right click and you choose update field before the value is going to be updated. So that's it. So now writing the CV. So we are on our last part, writing a CV and a cover letter. So to write a CV, you need to write the personal information, the educational background, work experience, and all the references also in table. Then you remove the table borders. So like we've done how to remove table borders, and we've also learned that the official font type is Times New Roman. Font size is 12. Okay, so I'm going to change the relationship back to portrait. Okay, so there should be no spacing. It should be Times New Roman, and it should be 12. Okay, so The heading for the first one is personal information. So all the headings are bold. So personal information. Okay. So in the personal information, it needs to be in the table. So you insert so how many information you want to write. You just insert them. So here, maybe I want to write. This is just an example, so I'm not going to write everything. So maybe name, or if you want to separate first name, last name, but normally we have name. So we will have the name of the person. So normally you have dots and maybe you leave a reasonable space, but the number of space you leave should be uniform so you can count. So maybe I want to leave 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I write my name. Okay. Then what next? So maybe nationality. So this is just an example to show you what you need to do. So based on the information you have. So here to the same number of space so that they all be in line with each other. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So, okay. Then so we can write the other information there. Then when you come to educational background, so educational background too. Then you can also insert your table. So educational background. Normally we have the institution, the duration, and qualification. So normally we have 3. So if you want to write a number of them, so the heading, the first heading is institution. So the institution. Okay. Now also take note, if your font is in bold and you include a table, by default it's going to make all the table bold. It's going to make all the field table cells bold. So you just have to uncheck the boldness before you draw your table, and that you have to unselect all of them. So you uncheck the bold, then where there is a need for bold, you can highlight them and select bold. Okay. So institutions, then duration, then as certificate or qualification. Okay. So normally you start from the top. So institution. So then you fill it and the qualification. So normally if you decide to write everything in capital block, then they should be uniform. If you decide to write them some, the first one capital, then the other ones lowercase, then you need to follow in that order. So based on the style you want to write it, so, but they should all be uniform. Okay. So now, then you also you continue with the work experience. So you have your work experience. So the work experience too, we have the company, we have the duration, then maybe sometimes you have the position. So since this one is bold, you need to unbold it before you include your table. So yeah, based on the number of work experience you have, then you can have it there. So the top ones are bold. So you can have the company, then the duration, then the position. Okay. So you write the company here, King's University College, King's University, then duration, then you enter the duration on your position, that order. Okay. So basically that's it. So now with the references, if it's more than one and you want to save page so that you don't go to page 2, then you can also put the references in the box. So maybe you can have 2 box for the references. So you have maybe the name of the person, the telephone, and the rest. So if they are two individuals, then you can have two or columns. So you put one individual in one column, then you put the other one in the second column. Okay. So once you have done that, you can just remove the borders. So here, if you click then table properties, then borders, then you just here borders none. Okay. So then this one too. Table properties, borders none. Okay. Then this one too. Click on the cells, the move handle counts, then table properties, borders, then none. Okay. Okay. So there are other things in the CV. The main point is that I want to draw your attention that you can, in order for the information to be in line, you can put them in the table. Then you remove the borders. So when you remove the borders, then they all appear nice. Like you can see, they are all in they not tilted. But if you want to use your own this, you don't put them in the table. You see that they are not in the same order the way they look now. So if you want your CVs to look appear nicer, then you can put them in the table as well. Then some people also change the colors of the rules. So maybe they make one gray, then one white, and another. So based on the style that you want your CV to look like is the way you do it. But you apply the same concept. Now we've learned a table, so you just use a table. Then you can, if you want some of the rules to have some background, you can as well do that. Now, if that one if you want them to have a background, then of course, then you 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 can style it. If you want the borders, then you may keep the borders. But if you want it to be this simple way, then once you put it in the table, you just remove the borders so that it will not be even seen as you use a table to design it. But everything will appear in line with each other, rather than you typing guessing the line alignment in the vertical way. So this we normally use the table for that. So if you're writing your CV now, then you can, if you have a computer, you can type it yourself, put it on the external drive, then you just go to the cafe, or if you have a printer, you just print it yourself nicely. Okay. So that's the motive of the course. You learn certain things so that you can be doing certain technical things yourself. Of course, if you have this knowledge too, you can as well apply for secretarial jobs and the rest. So all this typing knowledge, that's the same thing you normally do there. Okay, so that's basically that. So we move on to writing a cover letter. So when writing a cover letter, so we've done most of the concepts. Here we don't need a table, but we want to apply the concept we've learned in our previous weeks to see how you can also uh, write a nice cover letter. So here, normally in so there's two school of thought. Some say your address should be at the right. Others say both your address and the recipient address should all be at the left. So you decide which of the school of thought you are going to follow. Some say that all both at the left is the modern way of writing a cover letter. So if you agree with them, then you can have both your address and the address of the recipient all at the left hand side. So you separate the date from the address. So the date will move one line below your address. Then that of the recipient address comes there. Then you have the salutation. So the salutation, the popular one is dear sir or madam, but there are also those who are into this recruiting and all those who are more into this human resource management. Also, they said it's not advisable to use the old ways of addressing people like dear sir or madam. And they say it was advised that you need to call the company you want to address the application letter to and ask of the one in charge of the recruiting so that you refer to the letter directly to the person. So if the person is maybe Godwin Ashon, so dear Godwin Ashon, then comma, then you can address the letter to the person. And so, but in case you don't know the name of the human resource manager, then you can just write dear hiring manager. Okay, so that's it. But if you still want to follow the old fashioned way, yes or madam, then that's also up to you. Okay. But what I want to emphasize is the title of your letter. So we've learned bold, we've learned centered, and they must be in a capital letter. So you just center it and bold it and write what's the job that you are applying, the position you are applying for. If you want to make it general, just application for employment. Then you write the content. Then you just write a complimentary close like yours sincerely. Then comma, then your name, then your signature space. Okay. So basically that. So if you remove the CV, so you try to prepare your own CV. If you have any challenge, just contact me. So the CV, use a table and align them nicely with all the informations, your name, your gender, your date of birth, your region, your religion as per your hometown and the rest. Your educational background, start from the highest ranking. If you your recent one followed by the lower one to the JHS. The primary is not so important, but after the junior secondary school. Okay, that's if you are from Africa, but in the other places they have high school and colleges and the rest. So they're supposed to be in the top one, followed by the other ones, the least one. Then your work experience too. You also start from the latest one to the older ones, and you put them in the table. Then you remove the table border so that it doesn't show that you place them in the table when you print them out. But the table will make them all to be in line with each other. And if you are leaving a space, remember to count the number of spaces so that the motive of using the table will not be footer. Because if you make one space less than the other, then they will not be in line, like the motive why we want to use the table. Okay, so that's basically that. So I'm going to delete this, then we just see the example of our cover letter too. So cover letter, you can write your address. So PO Box. Okay, so PO Box. So however, P1234. Okay, so maybe education, Accra, Ghana. Okay. And you leave it one space for the date. So today's date is 2nd October 2020. Then you write of that of the recipient. So Kuulchat, let's say Kuulchat Media. Okay. Notification. Ghana. So if you are addressing to the human resource manager, I know the human resource manager, but if you don't know, you can say dear you can start with the hiring manager. Okay. So you just center and bold, then you underline. Okay, so you underline. center, bold, and underline. So application, and all these things should be capitalized well. So application for employment as a marketer. Okay. So then you start. So first you need to introduce yourself. And you need in the letter itself, letter content, make sure you try to convince them the reason why you are the best candidate for the job. So all the content will come here. So each paragraph you leave a new line for the next paragraph. So once you are done with one paragraph, just leave one line, then you move on to the next paragraph, and so on. Okay. So once you are done, then your closing salutation. Closing salutation too, there are two school of thought. Some say putting it at the right hand side is archaic. Others say the modern ones are the left hand side. So you decide, but sometimes you follow the old one because you don't know who believe it. But all these ones are personal decisions. So if you put it at the right, so yours sincerely, okay, then comma. Then normally some they leave dots so that you can sign over there, but some they don't leave the dots. They just put the signature on top of their name. That is it. So basically that's it. But what I want to emphasize is this one. So you center and you bold it, and it's supposed to be in capital block and also underline it. So basically that's it for your cover letter. So I think that's the end. Okay, so that's the end. Okay, so here, dear hiring manager. So you can add a dear to it. Okay, so and the addressing, you can address it the hiring manager or the human resource manager. Okay, so that's it. Then you can save it to the appropriate folder you need to save it. So that's it for this week. So what have we learned this week? So we've seen how you can insert a table in your Word document. There are three ways you can do that. You just click on insert tab, then table, then you choose the number of rows and number of columns. You can as well click on insert table, then you can enter the number of rows and number of columns, then you click OK, then it will be inserted. But remember, always put the cursor at where you want the table to be inserted before you um, use any of those methods. Now you can join two cells together. To join them, you need to highlight the cells you want to join. You right click, then you choose merge cells. So when you choose on merge cells, it will be merged and it become one cell. Now removing borders of this. To remove the borders of a table, you click on any part of the table, then the move handle will show. So it will show at the upper left side of the table. Then you right click it and choose table properties. In the table properties, choose borders and shading. In the borders and shading, choose the borders tab, just choose none. Then you click OK. Then you click another OK for the dialog boxes to disappear. So once you've done that, then the table borders will be removed. Now if you want to bring it back, you follow the same step, but this time you choose any of these: box, all grid, or grid or custom. So the difference between all grid and the grid is that the grid one, the inner ones has a short, thinner cells, but in the all they all have the same thickness of cell. So that's the difference between the two, but they are all bordered everything. But if you want a box only border around the ending, around the borders of your table. Then we also saw how you can change the text direction of a cell. If you want it to be vertical, by default it's horizontal, so you want it to be vertical, but in a different direction, you can choose them as well. Then we will see now you can draw a simple table for your personal project. So when you are drawing, normally for posters and those things, we use landscape. So you change the orientation to the landscape. Then you change the background color of the ones you want to, the colors you want. Then you can merge the cells which needs to be merged. So when you are drawing the number of cells and the number of rows and columns, you count how many smaller cells you have. Then you can know how many rows and how many columns. Then the rest you just merge them at the appropriate places. Okay, so now when you are creating, writing your CV, you can put your personal information, your work experience, your educational background, and maybe your reference all in the table. That they can all be in line. Then you can remove the borders of your table so that when you print them, they will not show. Then you can as well use formulas in Word document. But the most application we use for formulas basically is the Excel. But for basic formulas, you can use a Word document for them. And some of the functions we have are average. So if you call average, then maybe into bracket left, to take the average of the numbers at the left. We also have above and the rest, below and the rest. So you choose the one that you want. So you can do practice more on these things. So average finds the average. So you just add all the numbers and divide by how many numbers you have. Then count how many numbers you have. Maximum return the maximum number, min return the minimum number, order returns the result of the multiplication of the numbers. Sum adds the numbers. Then in Word, when you update any cell, it doesn't update the result. So you need to select the result and right click it and choose update field. Then that one, the result will automatically be updated. Then we see the CV, we see the cover letter. So for the cover letter, the key idea is that the heading, you just center the text and you use, and you should also use the format font. The format font is Times New Roman and the font size is 12. So you apply this knowledge as well. Okay, so that is it for today, and thank you very much for taking this course. And as you know, to share uh, this wonderful site, you click on the share button, then you can share on WhatsApp, you can share on Facebook, and you can share on Twitter, so that others can also join the website and also acquire knowledge as well. And also remember also to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that anytime we post a video, in the subsequent time when all the course week videos are done, we will do videos based on the request of the students. So maybe a student requests for a particular feature which is not included in the video, then we'll create a video for that particular one. So since that one is not part of the course, we only upload it on YouTube. So if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you get this notification. You can also follow it. They say knowledge is power. So you just try to do that as well. Then don't forget also button. So the lecturers and the school who put all these videos in place and are available for you to share your problems or them to resolve them for you. All they need also to be supported somehow financially. So your donations are also welcome. And try to also refer to people to use the site often so that the site will also be very popular as well. So enjoy the rest of the day and you know where to contact me. If you have anything, you are doing something and you are facing any difficulty, just click on the home page. So on the home page, there is chat with an instructor. If you haven't logged in, it will say log in or create an account chat with an instructor. So you create an account or log in, then you can click on it and send me a chat message and I can also reply you. But have a lovely day and hope to see you subsequent week. So we are left with 4 more weeks, then the course is done. But until then, enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.